Alabama had a lot of injuries and a lot of injury concerns. How many of those guys are going to be back for OU?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson, that's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. We'll talk about Game Time here in just a little bit. I want to thank you everydayers for watching us every day, because you know why? You've made Locked On the number one sports podcast network, and we're a part of it. So, we're just sort of hanging on the coattails of everybody else, but that's cool. We're down with it, and we appreciate your helping with that. So, Jimmy, one of the biggest things that Alabama fans have been talking about and asking about is the injury status of several players. Now, one guy that's not on any of the injury reports is Ty Simpson.
Yep.
I plan on trying to dig as much as I can into what's going on with Ty today. Have you heard anything that makes you feel like he is better? I know he's not on the injury report. People are going, "Oh my God, he's not on the injury report." But we both know, and you all probably know if you listen to this, he's beat up pretty good. So
Right.
Do you feel like he's any better?
Yeah. I mean, just to go over that one more time about injury report versus availability report, that's literally what it is, an availability report. Ty's extremely unlikely to be on it because he's going to be available in the game. He's going to start and he's going to play and period. So there's no rule that requires him to be on the availability report. He's available for the game and he's going to play. That doesn't mean he's not banged up, and we'll just use that term for now. I think the week of rest is been huge for him, and I think we will see I'm not going to say healthiest, but the best Ty has been or felt in a good while, maybe even going all the way back to Missouri or Tennessee. So I think I'm not worried so much about Ty being unable to perform. I think Ty, it will be fine. I'm more worried about some others and their availability for the game. But I think Ty will be fine. And as much as we want to say, gosh, how unfortunate, let's remember this. I mean, John Mateer has been a different player after his hand injury. I mean, he was a Heisman contender in September, and then he hurts his hand and has surgery. John Mateer has not been the same player. So I wouldn't say necessarily that Alabama's at a disadvantage at quarterback in this game. I think Ty Simpson and John Mateer have both been healthier at points in the season, but they're both capable of playing really well Saturday. Either one of them or Friday night. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Friday. God dang it, better be Friday. I've already made all my arrangements. Don't tell me they switched it up on me. I'm just going to Oklahoma City for the hell of it. Who's ever done that?
But you are going.
Yeah, I'm going.
Confirmed. Okay, excellent.
It's confirmed. Yeah, I'm going to take that. I'm sure there's some other people that will be on the flight, that Southwest flight from Birmingham to OKC. I typically like to fly Delta. I'm very brand loyal in that regard because I have so many other children that need to use Sky Miles all the time. So I'm like, I need to stay with one brand that I can collect the most points so I can try to provide for my family. That's how Alabama taught me finance. Get all the points you can in the travel industry so that you can provide for your family.
That's a solid education. What's the airline that Quagmire flies for in Family Guy?
Man, I can't remember. I'm not as Family Guy centric as I am Simpson centric. Or the Office centric.
I was going to be loyal to an airline. It would be the one that employs Quagmire.
Giggity Airlines. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going but I'm coming right back Saturday. Because my daughter's playing in some basketball games. She's on a travel basketball squad. My third grade daughter is on a travel basket. And I'm going to brag on her for a second. I know. Look, it's Christmas week. Y'all let me do my thing. My daughter, she had 2 games last week in the tournament because they were in the championship round. So her first game, they won 19-0, and she scored 11 points and probably had, 12 rebounds and like 3 blocks and 6 steals. And then in the championship game, they won 28-4. The other team scored the first bucket of the game, and then our team went on a 28-0 run. And she had 20 of the 28, and she was pretty good. So I was really proud of her. And I hadn't done anything. I mean, like, I got 4 children. She's the only one that's really shown interest in basketball. So I'm thrilled to death because that's what I played. But anyway,
Luka Doncic of that league.
Yeah, she is. She's my little Luca. Anywho, so I'm going to the game. I don't remember what they were. Oh, injuries. Okay, so Ty is banged up, but we believe he'll be better now. I just looked it up. That the last 2. Look at it this way: when Ty's had essentially 3 bye weeks now, 2 weeks to get ready for 3 different games. One of them was Georgia. He threw for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns and ran for a touchdown. One of them was LSU. He threw for 277 and only 1 touchdown. But I would also argue and correct my memory that like maybe part of our goal in that game was we can beat this squad if we just don't screw it up. Let's just play easy on this. Now I think he had a big turnover in that game, if I remember right, maybe a sack fumble or something like that.
Yes.
But then now he's got a bye week for this game. If he throws for 277 in this game and has a touchdown or 2, I feel very good about Alabama's chances, unless he turns it over like he did against Oklahoma the first time.
Yeah, I think the yards thrown don't capture the whole performance for him. He threw for over 300 yards against Oklahoma in the first game around, which is incredible. By the way, I heard Brent Venables yesterday, the Oklahoma head coach, effusive in his praise for Ty and admitted that Ty was as good against Oklahoma as anybody was all year. And this was a banged up Ty in that game. So he's still capable of playing really well. I think with Ty, I'm going to look to in this game, Luke, efficiency. That means a reduction of negative plays, fewer incompletions, no turnover. Turnovers are the key to the point that I'm going to be blue in the face all week. Look, we've lost the last 2 against these guys just in the past 12 months. Alabama's turned it over 6 times in those games. Oklahoma's only turned it over once. That tells the whole story of both games, frankly, but definitely this last one. So with Ty, I'm looking more towards efficiency and not turning over the ball as opposed to throwing for a ton of yards. If he threw for 300 against them last time, he could do it again.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't want Ty to throw for 300 yards this time because I think what that'll mean is we have turned it over or we've given up big plays in special teams because the reason he threw for 300 was because Oklahoma had a pick 6, so we get the ball right back. We had a sack in our own territory, and Oklahoma scored on it, so we get the ball right back. They had a long punt return that put it in our territory, so we get the ball right back. What I'm saying is Oklahoma didn't really have to have the ball much to score. We sort of gave them points. So we kept getting the ball back, and we just couldn't convert it at the end. And he also, of course, had that last possession that ended on 4th down incompletion to Ryan Williams. But that I was looking back, Oklahoma kicked their – I'll tell you what, I'm going to save that because I want to talk about it in the next segment about looking back on this other Oklahoma game that we played earlier this year. Other injuries, Jam Miller, it looks like he's full go. Jam Miller looks ready to rock, apparently. Now, full go as you can be at this part in the season. I saw you wince like, hey, he's not 100%. We know that.
Yeah, probably not 100%, but I do think we'll see Jam Miller on Saturday.
Cuevas is – out there, but he as soon as practice really gets going, apparently he rides a stationary bike, which I could maybe he can play, maybe he can't. I'm leaning towards we might see him for just a little bit is what I'm leaning to.
I think on the availability report that will come out, I believe Wednesday will be the first availability report. I'm expecting Josh Cuevas to be listed as questionable. On Jimmy's availability report, he's doubtful. So, I'm not as optimistic about Josh Cuevas, but hey, obviously we should listen to Kalen DeBoer, right? He's not. I don't think he's trying to fool anybody, but I'll be a little surprised if we see Josh.
So some other guys, Cam Dewberry looks like he's back. Go. Parker Brailsford a go. Geno Vandermark, who left in the SEC title game, a go. And some other guys
all the way across, by the way, all the way across, meaning I think the offensive line we settled on at the end of the year, they're all good to go. Proctor, Dewberry, Brailsford, Formby, Carroll, left to right. I think the starting offensive line, they'll all be starting Saturday. Now, are they all 100%? I mean, I think it would be crazy to expect that this time of the year, but they're all a go.
And then some guys other guys that left the SEC championship game, Justin Jefferson, Xavier Brown, and Dijon Lee. I don't know how long he left the Georgia game. I don't really remember his going out, but all three of those guys appear ready to rock. And Kelby Collins too, by the way, who missed the SEC championship game. Everybody was talking about LT Overton is sick and Kelby Collins is sick. And so the assumption was LT got Kelby Collins sick. Turns out LT's is a little bit more serious, and Kelby actually probably was sick. So he's back. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Kelby had, as I'm sitting here speaking, I'm not remembering, but Kelby had either pneumonia or mono. I mean, he had he was sick, but him and LT Overton's situation is completely different. It just popped up at the same time. And LT is just, Kalen DeBoer said doubtful. Again, Jimmy's availability report, I'll say out. But but DeBoer right now is not speaking in certainties. LT Overton did not practice on Monday, and of course has been out for some time now. So I would say he's beyond doubtful.
Start with a little Omaha Steaks now. And I always preface this. If I have more experience with a live read, I like to give my own life experience. And my father, my kid's grandfather, loves to give my children that are stationed in Ohio for the most part, loves to send them steaks all the time. And he loves to send them hamburgers and sides. And Omaha Steaks is perfect for that because he likes to spend a lot with Omaha Steaks, but he gets a lot. I mean, a lot more than you would normally get from these places. Now, holidays are here. Whether you're hosting family, planning the perfect gift, or just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience right to your door. And what makes it even better? Can they make it better? Yeah, they can. With Omaha Steaks, you always know exactly what you're getting and what you're gifting. USDA certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet sides, and a decadent lineup of desserts that make anyone feel appreciated. I'm telling you, my kids love it. They like call his name's Daddy. That's his granddaddy name, Daddy Ricky. They call and say, Daddy Ricky, you're the best. You're a great American. We love you. And all that stuff. That's omahasteaks.com. That's where you want to go to check this out. Visit omahasteaks.com for an extra $35 off. Use code COLLEGE at checkout. That's all one word because college is only one word. Terms do apply. See the site for details. That's Omaha Steaks. That's a Luke Robinson guarantee. You don't get those nearly as much. Jimmy guarantees everything. I'm very stingy. Okay, so I look back on the Alabama-Oklahoma game from earlier this year, and it is so telling. I mean, boy, if you just put your hand over the score and listen to some of these stats, and again, we all know this. We all know Alabama probably should have won the game and outperformed Oklahoma in a lot of areas. But when you hear it, when you hear the discrepancy in some of these things, it makes you vomit in terror at the fact that we still lost this game. Look, Ty Simpson had 326 yards. John Mateer, 138. Rushing yards. Daniel Hill had 60. Their leading running back was Xavier Robinson with 34. Our leading receiver, this does frighten me a little bit, was Josh Cuevas with 80. And there was Carter with 36. I had forgotten about the Cuevas. In fact, if you had asked me, I probably would have said, I don't remember. I know Cuevas caught the touchdown. Now it all's coming back to me. But, like, in my mind, Cuevas has been hurt forever, so I've kind of forgotten.
Career high in targets and yards against Oklahoma. It was the best game of his career. Boy, we're really missing him. And I think we'll miss him on Saturday. I mean, I know people LT Overton's a great player, and Jam's been banged up, and even Parker Brailsford's hurt. But I think the loss of Cuevas is big. It's not just who you lose, it's who replaces him, and not taking any shots at anybody. But the fact of the matter is the second best tight end on the roster behind Josh Cuevas is Danny Lewis, also hurt and highly unlikely to play. So now you're all the way down to your third guy, happens to be a true freshman. And Caleb Edwards is going to be a fantastic football player by the time he's done at Alabama. but to be the starter as a true freshman at Oklahoma in the playoffs at the line of scrimmage, he's going to have to be blocking R. Mason Thomas at times in this game. Now, I don't know that we're going to put him one-on-one with R. Mason Thomas, but it could happen. And I mean, we're talking about as good of a premier veteran pass rusher as there is in this sport. And we're asking our 18-year-old from California to go out there and get him blocked. So missing Cuevas is really big, and tight end is going to be an issue on Friday, particularly when it was such an asset for us the first time around.
Do you think it would help Caleb Edwards? I don't know what his middle name or his first name is if he goes by his middle name. Do you think it would help if we put if he was like, let's pretend like his middle name is Robert. I don't know what it is, but if we called him K. Robert Edwards, would that help? Like make it sound a little more sophisticated?
To match R. Mason Thomas?
To match R. Mason Thomas? By the way, he's not R. Mason Thomas. He's their Mason Thomas. That's terrible.
And I
told you I'm death by a thousand cuts.
I'm going to have more of a good answer. Let's ask the Locked On Sooners guys. We're going to be doing a crossover episode with the Locked On Sooner guys, Jay and John Williams. We're going to ask them about R. Mason Thomas's name. Like, is that a nickname? Is that on his birth certificate? I don't know if they'll know, but that is one of the more interesting names in college football. R, the letter R, Mason Thomas.
Well, and I wonder if his first name, we all assume it stands for Robert, but maybe it stands for, maybe his name is just R. Like Homer J. Simpson's name is J. I mean, they found that out in one of the episodes. So,
I hope it's just R, because that's cool as heck. That's cool. That's cool. It's all like,
you mean just the letter?
First name R.
Yeah. I hope it's R, like A, like it's ARR or something like something a pirate would say.
I'll worry even more about getting that guy blocked if his first name is R.
I do too. Let me tell you how badass you got to be if you come out and the doctor goes, this kid, I'm not sure we can give him a name. We need to just give him a letter and stand back and let the greatness flow through him.
And that's basically what happened, because I'm telling you, he's missed a lot of the season. But
he missed our game.
He did. He missed the Alabama game the first time around, folks. I mean, we had some success on offense. R. Mason Thomas didn't play. He's back. He is as disruptive as at the line of scrimmage as any player in this league. There is no player in the SEC any more disruptive than R. Mason Thomas is at the point of attack. It's going to be a common matchup with Caden Proctor on him. The NFL scouts are going to love that tape. Proctor versus R. Mason Thomas. He's also going to line up on the other side and take on our true freshman right tackle, Michael Carroll, because Oklahoma's going to like that matchup. It's definitely one to watch. And Luke, that's a great point about it. We didn't have to deal with R. Mason Thomas the first time around.
Got to deal with him this time. So tackles wise, Deontay Lawson had 5. We only had our leading sacker was Keon Sabb, strangely, with 1. They had their guy Lewis had 2 sacks. So, but then you look at the total thing: 406 yards to 212. We essentially doubled them up. 23 first downs to 12 in favor of Bama. Penalty. We beat them in penalties. We only had 2 penalties for 25 yards. They had 5 for 37. A third down, we were 5 of 13. They were only 3 of 13. Fourth down, we were 2 of 3. They didn't even try one. Time of possession, 34 minutes, 28 seconds to 25 minutes, 32 seconds. But the old adage holds true. The first stat you should look at is turnovers, 3-0. And that tells the tale. If that turnover is cut down to 1, we probably win this by double digits.
Yeah, if you just if turnovers go from 3 to 2, Alabama wins the game.
Yeah,
goes from 3 to 1, you probably win the game by 2 scores. If you don't turn over the ball at all, the game might not have been too close. And then the time before when we lost to Oklahoma in Norman, when Jalen Milroe was quarterback, he threw 3 interceptions that night. Turnovers have told the story in this. 2 other stats I'm in front of me, but 2 other just jaw-dropping stats about that Oklahoma game. Number 1, their longest scoring drive of the night, the longest they had to move the ball to score was 57 yards. That was the longest drive all night. Alabama had 4 drives over 60 yards and lost the game. One other stat, and this kind of sums up exactly to sum up what Luke was telling you guys. per ESPN's crazy computers and all they use, when you feed all those stats into their computer, ESPN says probability of win for Oklahoma with those stats, 4%. 4% chance of winning that game, but they did. Why? The turnovers. And let's give Oklahoma some credit. Their fans get real hostile about this, and it is a good point. Alabama didn't just hand them the football. All 3 turnovers were forced by Oklahoma, and it's what they do. They're really good at it, and they're
awesome at it.
They're going to do it again. They're taught to rip the ball out. They're ball hawks in the secondary. They jumped the route on the pick 6. They're outstanding on defense, elite. As good as Georgia was in Atlanta, completely basically shutting Alabama out, Oklahoma is just as good or better on that side of the ball.
That's 100%. And look, again, I do want to give Oklahoma credit. When I said we would win by double digits if that number is cut down to 1, I know Oklahoma fans probably threw their hands up. I would too, because remember, we're Alabama, so we have lived and died by defense several times in our own right. So we understand. That said, I think the point still remains. If we cut that number down, then I think we win by double digits. I still believe that. I believe it while saying Oklahoma might have the best defense in the league, honestly. And that's a big deal. If you got the best defense in the SEC, you've got a top 5 defense in the country, no doubt about it.
And I think that, I mean, in terms of who I would trade them for, their defense for, maybe Ohio State, maybe. I mean, I think it's Ohio State, Oklahoma, in terms of who's got the best defense. And once again, I'll say with turnovers, if they have an edge in the turnover margin again, just forget it. Forget Pasadena, forget Indiana. If they have an edge in the turnover margin at home, they're going to win the game again.
Yeah, and then the other thing, we talked about this, special teams. That is something that is coached and worked on, and their kicker was 3 of 3. Ours was 0 of 1 from, and I don't remember the yardage, but it wasn't like this incredibly long number.
It was the short kick where there was the high snap, and Talty freaked out on David Byrd. That was what happened here.
That's right.
But I think, and that was a big missed kick in the game. You lost the game by 2 points, and you missed a kick.
That just makes me so mad.
Special teams, again, because we haven't talked about that enough. As much as Alabama sort of won the game, offense versus defense, they beat us on special teams that night, 100-0. They punted it better. They kicked it a lot better. Their kicker might be the best player on the team. Best player on the team whose first name isn't a letter. Tate Sandell, their kicker, Lou Groza Award winner, best kicker in college football, basically by unanimous vote. Now, it's an outdoors game, bad weather. I don't think it's a great kicking environment. I wouldn't think December in Norman, outdoors, might negate some of their advantage there. But Tate Sandell is an outstanding place kicker. Their punter can punt it pretty well, too. We used the 2 punt returners in this game, right? It's the only game all year where Alabama used 2 punt returners.
Oh, yeah, and we had a fumble.
It was Ryan Williams and Cole Adams. Of course, Ryan.
It was like, why do you try this against Oklahoma? I remember that. Oh my God, why would you do this?
I heard it was explained that their punter sort of places the ball like some of his punts would be short and some of them would be long, and they felt that what they wanted to do was stop the instances of the ball hitting the ground and rolling. They're like, well, they're short punts. Ryan will field it. If it's a longer punt, Cole will field it. And they wanted to not have the ball hit the ground and roll. So that's how they explained it. Again, I don't like major changes to what you're doing in game 10. And particularly in a game that, turnovers aside, Alabama was highly competitive in. And again, it just resulted in a turnover, although credit Oklahoma for knocking the ball out. It's not like Ryan just handed them the ball. They knocked it out, pulled it out. Tough play, but it helped decide the game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't like trying new stuff in game 10 against a team that has better special teams and defense than you but can't score. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Oh, let's talk a little game time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. That's cool. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through the matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and you have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. Look, take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event that you want to go to with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's all one word, LOCKEDONCollege. Terms do apply because they apply to everything. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time today. Okay, this is how I know the football season is coming to a close. This is an annual event, has been for years. I look forward to it. I think we should be celebrating it more. I'm thinking let the post office out. TJ Finley is transferring again. And he's appealing for a 7th year. But I feel quite certain this time things are going to work out. He has literally been to every school.
I believe is it going to be, if this is approved, and I have no idea what is the basis of his waiver request to ask for yet another, I have no idea what it is. Will this be the 7th school in 7 years?
I think so. I think it's like, what is it, the old Michael Scott thing? The NCAA will say, TJ, you need cause to be able to have a 7th year. I have cause. It's because I want to keep playing and making money.
They're going to rename the transfer portal after this guy.
Oh, the TJ Finley honorary. Yeah. Oh, I'm down with that.
It'd be also different if he was a great player, but let's be honest, he's still in college football because there is no next level for him. Certainly looks the part. Alabama's played against him 2 or 3 times. I think
LSU, we played against him with LSU, played against him with Auburn, obviously.
Western Kentucky.
We played against him with Wicker. He's got to go somewhere he's got to go to East Carolina now, right? I think by law.
That would make sense. Wouldn't that be great to play him yet again? We'll play him 4th time in 4 different schools, but no, that is crazy. And of course, the transfer portals can be really interesting with Alabama in the playoff. You're not going to probably hear too much about Alabama players intending to enter the portal, but it's going to happen. There will be multiple players. If we're just going to pick an over-under number, I'd probably set it around 10, in terms of how many players will enter the portal. But I know of no rumors or any stories that indicates to me that someone that I would call an anticipated starter in 2026 is leaving. That would be news to me. But, of course, the portal's full of surprises. But I would say at least 10 Alabama players in terms of an over-under number. In terms of who will enter for Alabama.
There are some more interesting people in the portal, though. And first of all, Arch Manning has said he's coming back next year. That doesn't necessarily affect Alabama because we don't play him next year, but could play him in the SEC title game, and it is an SEC thing. DJ Lagway is in the portal. Again, maybe not affecting Alabama, but one of his potential destinations is LSU, apparently. Yep. And there was one other one that maybe he was looking at that could be playing Alabama. I can't remember, but I know Miami was in there. Let me tell you something else. Indiana, somebody told me to really look out for Indiana here.
Well, Indiana is now 2 years in a row. They've had an all-star senior quarterback transfer, O'Rourke, and then, of course, the Heisman winner in Mendoza. It's a destination spot now for top-rated quarterbacks. I'll tell you, the quarterback that's entering the portal that I'm really high on myself. Of course, this will have nothing to do with Alabama because Alabama's set. But Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati, I think, is a really good player. Wouldn't shock me if he ends up at Tennessee, and we'd be playing against him next year. This kid's really gifted, big kid, but very athletic, smart guy. But I think
they need to find out about Aguilar too.
Yes,
he is not announced.
I don't know that he's announced or would need to wait. I don't know what the deal is with him, but they're waiting on Aguilar. But I do know that Sorsby to Tennessee would be something that's very possible. I think his family has a lot of connections to Knoxville, but he's an interesting name that will be in the portal for sure. Alabama's not being interested in a portal quarterback simply because either Ty is returning, which would make, I think the staff would be very happy. And if Ty goes to the NFL, then there will be an Austin Mack, Keelan Russell battle extraordinaire in the spring. I think the staff will be very excited about that. I don't anticipate Alabama being interested in any quarterback other than potentially depth, but probably not even there. Where you got the 2 freshmen coming in, they're high on those guys, so you might not even need them with depth. But that would be the only quarterback news. One other quarterback note for Alabama: we probably don't talk about Elijah Haven enough. He's going to be committing in January to somebody. Alabama per an On3 report just yesterday. Alabama's still the favorite. I don't think we talk about him enough. I had a source whose opinion I care about greatly when it comes to evaluating high school players, particularly even quarterbacks. He says Elijah Haven may be the best he's ever seen, at that age. So, and very possibly the nation's #1 quarterback. He's going to be committing in January. Alabama, the leader. Let's see if Lane Kiffin can get LSU in those sweepstakes.
The one thing I'd say about that is
people that don't know.
Yeah, Lane is not. I wouldn't consider Lane a big-time high school football recruiter. Portal, he is sort of the portal king, but a high school football recruiter, I don't know. Dylan Riola from Nebraska is in the portal. I don't think that'll affect Alabama, but we all know that name. He was committed to Nebraska, then to Georgia, then back to Nebraska, and now he's going to be leaving there. And also, just one other note, and this is a throwback. A lot of people who listen to this podcast probably won't know who in the hell I'm talking about. And you made a great point. Before there was Diego Pavia, before there was a guy who was flipping off Indiana and, cussing everywhere and super brash and all that like Diego Pavia, he's gone too far. But in 1992, Steve Tannehill was Diego Pavia, but much more toned down. He had the long hair. I'll never forget. Now, this is a story that made the rounds. I was at Alabama at the time, and I was a recruitnik. And Steve Tannehill was from Pennsylvania. And apparently he wanted to get out of Pennsylvania. Everybody's like, this guy's the #1 quarterback in the country. Why does he want to come to the South? He could go to Penn State. At the time, Joe Pa was still a thing. But he wanted to play down south, and it came down to Alabama and South Kakalaki. And he visited Alabama, and we all just assumed that, okay, it was us versus South Carolina. At the time, South Carolina was like going 0-12 every year. So we just assumed it was us. The rumor going around was that Gene Stallings took a look at that dude's hair, which was flowing and beautiful, and it looked like something from a Pantene commercial. And Gene Stallings took a look at that hair and said, no. Now, did that actually happen? I don't know. But I know this, it was pre-internet, so maybe Gene Stallings didn't know what he looked like before he got down there. Because when he came down and that hair was poking out of that helmet, in the end, he signed with South Carolina, and Alabama played him in 92. I think he came, and I don't know if he started that game, but I know he played some. And we rocked his world. I mean, we just beat the ever-living bejesus out of him.
Yeah, we did. It is funny that Steve Tannehill was considered sort of a renegade. But it just shows how things are generational. It's like the older people, like our parents' age, when like Alice Cooper came out, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the scariest satanic Alice Cooper." And to us, Alice Cooper looks so tame because in the current generation, it's like Marilyn Manson is. I'm just saying, Steve Tannehill, Alice Cooper, Diego Pavia is Marilyn Manson.
Well, he was and I said 92. It may have been 93 or 94. It may have been 93
I think
or 94.
He was a high school recruit in 92. That sounds right. Like he was a prospect in 92. I remember the game he played against us in 95 when Alabama 94, 95, Alabama beat him pretty good in Columbia. I think we got to him, sacked him several times.
Well, I was thinking of the one in Tuscaloosa that we played because I remember everybody was like, "Oh, let's see what this kid does," and we just beat the mess out of him. Again, South Carolina was terrible. Y'all don't know how bad South Carolina was.
That's why Luke's telling a story. Did you already mention that? Steve Tannehill passed away this week.
Yeah, well, I that was the thing. I never got to the lead. But Steve Tannehill passed away in his sleep. you would think, like, if you heard a story that Diego Pavia, in the future in his 50s passes away, you're going to assume he did it while bungee jumping, while sniffing cocaine off of a hooker's bottom. That's what you would assume, because that's how crazy it is. Steve Tannehill just dying in his sleep doesn't even seem real to me. Like, at the time, we all thought he was, like you said, a renegade. And he wasn't. He was just, like, now he would not even be, nothing that he did would be considered out of bounds.
And I've never heard anything negative about
me neither.
Person. Never did. It was just he was just different. And that was enough in the early 90s to make you a big story. You were just different. But never heard a bad word about the guy. And what a tragic story. So condolences to everybody at South Carolina who's understandably upset about this.
Man, I mean this in the most complimentary way. Like, I didn't idolize him, but he was one of the first real big quarterback recruits that I followed. I mean, I was just, every day I was trying to get a Steve Tannehill. Y'all don't know how hard it was to get updates and recruiting on Steve Tannehill back then.
Was he from Altoona, Pennsylvania?
I believe it was Altoona, yeah.
That's I remember his recruitment really well too. And that's the only reason I know that.
I still, in my head, I still have the one black and white picture I had of him from like a newspaper clipping. Like Cecil Hurt may have written something about him or something, because again, we'd have to go do that microfiche crap, and I wasn't doing all that because I didn't know how. Somebody on the comment said,
the youngins.
Somebody the other day when we went over the new schedule, somebody in the comments said, what really would have helped is if you had put up a graphic with the new schedule. And somebody else said, easy, cowboy. Luke doesn't know how to work the microphone. Okay. And I was like, yeah, that guy, that's an everydayer.
That's an everyday listener. That's an everyday listener there.
Speaking of everyday, go check out the LockedOnBama.com/everydayer club. Is $5 a month or $50 for the year. The Discord is wide open. It's a message board. You get Jimmy and I will be there. Jimmy is on there all the time. Props to Jimmy. Go check it out. You can ask questions. We'll bring up stuff on the show. Again, $5 a month and $50. I feel like we should have some Sarah McLaughlin money for just $5 a month. You can help Luke and Jimmy.
Yeah, I'll jump back on there today. I've been on a bit of a vacation. I'm on the last day of it, but at a good friend's house today in North Alabama. But I'll be back home tonight, and I will jump back into the Discord page. Looking forward to that.
And we will be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.